G'day, it's Stevic from 12 Ninja here. And look, if you like American football, you should check out Saints Happy Hour podcast. I personally know fuck all about American football, other than it's a bunch of massive blokes wearing spandex, shoulder pads and helmets, running around with throwing a football. In Australia, you don't throw footballs. You punch it or you kick it. And there's no protection. They're all naked, and there's sharks and crocodiles fired out of cannons onto the field, and we all stand around and drink blood watching it. But if American football's your thing, you know what to do. Saints Happy Hour podcast. Stick it in your ear hole.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about how Tim Tebow, he wishes he was Taysom Hill, despite all the talking heads thinking that's going to happen. We're going to talk about which road games, the 2021 schedule, are the best ones to attend. We are going to talk about the Saints schedule, how to manage the snaps with the 17-game schedule to make sure players only play the same amount of plays as 16 games. We'll talk about how Mickey Loomis is going to create $5 million of cap space out of thin air. And we're going to talk about how the Falcons continue to get sunned by the Saints on social media. Welcome to the podcast. Find us on the YouTubes, wherever you get your podcasts. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. If you don't give us 5 stars, don't give us any stars at all. We got the whole crew here tonight. Thomas running the show in Poland. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Good.
Doing good.
I'm hurt.
Pretty
It was
good.
almost not looking so good when you
It
were
wasn't.
Robo Ralph in our pre-show.
I'm hurt
but
because
somehow you got your audio figured out.
I
just in
somehow
time.
got it fixed. Don't wait. We're only 2 minutes in, Juge. We haven't fixed anything. I'm hurt, though, because we bought Kevin a headset, and he doesn't have the headset tonight because he's at work, and he sounds 1,000 times better than he sounds with the goddamn headset. So, once again, we
got his
fail at
DJ
at
headphones.
technology.
Right.
So, I want to start with
On the
this.
ones
And
and twos.
granted, the thumbnail that I had Thomas build is a merging of Tim Tebow and Taysom Hill, which is the greatest way to create social media engagement. Taysom Hill might be the number one player in the NFL. You can just tweet anything about him and you get 50 retweets. But here's the thing that annoys me, Dave. All these talking heads are like, Taysom, he's going to be the next Taysom Hill. They're going to put in a Taysom Hill package. Tim Tebow, he hasn't played. The last time Tim Tebow played a meaningful quarterback snap in the NFL, Vernon Davis was killing our Saints' dreams in the 2011 playoffs. I don't want to hear this bullshit of Tim Tebow is going to be like Taysom Hill. It's not going to happen, and it annoys me.
Well, as soon as this whole thing came out and they actually signed him, I mean, my take was,
They haven't signed him yet, though.
oh well, I thought they did.
Well,
I
they're
thought it was
going.
official.
I did too, but they haven't signed him yet.
All right, well,
It's not official.
well, okay, well then to that point, I mean, I really feel like the real reason behind this whole thing is like just pure publicity. You've got a new head coach in Jacksonville or whatever, and you want to put butts in the seats and get people excited and get people talking about you. All press is good press. So I mean, really and truly, that's probably at the heart of this. But when this whole thing first came out, my take on it was that Tim Tebow crawled so that Taysom Hill could walk, so that Tim Tebow can now run. I feel like we've come full circle here. I mean, I really truly believe that. Like Tim Tebow was kind of like that first, a very aggressive, not the first run, not the first quarterback that ever ran with the ball, but the first kind of like he'll just go straight up the middle and bowl people over kind of tight end type of quarterback. And he had some success. He won a playoff game for crying out loud. And now you've got Taysom Hill, who does a lot of the same things, but he's had way more success than Tebow ever did.
Winning a playoff game is more than Bobby Hebert can say.
People shit on Tebow. People shit on Tebow, but like I have always said this about Tebow. He just like he was a winner, man.
He had a
like,
horseshoe deep in his ass.
Yes, he was just a winner. Whatever he did, he went like that playoff game. He pulled that shit out of his ass. It's just he had that winner stink on him, and I think there's something to be said for that. And I feel like he kind of got a bad rap. And but he should have. He should have.
Are you telling me that he was good at quarterback by any stretch of the imagination?
No, but he could have. No, what I'm saying is that he where he went wrong was he should have played tight end. They wanted him to play tight end. Teams wanted him to play the tight end. He should have made the switch. He should have done whatever he wanted to do to stay in the league. And I think he could have been a good tight end, and he could have been. I don't know,
well,
but
you're saying he should have done what he didn't want to do.
Yes.
And he refused to do that. Yeah.
Well,
if he wanted to be, he didn't want to do that, and that's fine. But like, if he wanted to be successful, or if he wanted to stay in the NFL, he could have switched to tight end.
Well, we're kind of seeing it with Taysom, right? To your point, like I think Taysom has shown a willingness to kind of do whatever it takes to get on the field.
Exactly.
And if Tebow had that attitude.
Yes,
then
exactly.
Maybe he would have remained in the league all this last decade.
Exactly.
Right?
And now that Taysom has done that, now Tebow's like, oh, you know what? Maybe I will switch positions, and maybe I will.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like,
so we've come full circle. Full circle.
But Taysom is much faster. First of all, he runs a 4.4, and I think Tebow ran like a 4.74. So
that's right.
Significant difference in speed. And the other thing I will say, like, we can bang on Taysom all you want for, like, the processing and the fumbles, but, like, he can actually throw an NFL ball.
More accurate than Aaron Rodgers in 2020. Just saying.
Wow.
But here's the thing, Kevin, and I was listening to a Bomani Jones podcast, and he was talking to Dominic Foxworth. And he wanted
to say Dominic Foxworthy so bad.
I wanted to say that so bad. It's like Debo. It's just, it gets me. But Kevin, he brought up a great point of NFL players are going to want to wreck Tebow in these preseason games. And he brought up the point of when he was with the Broncos, and that was like Jerry Rice's last stop. Remember, he wanted to make the Broncos at 40. And Foxworth was like, I don't care that Jerry Rice is in the Hall of Fame, blah, 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 blah. I am going to wreck this dude. Wreck him. And I think people are going to like defensive ends, linebackers, like they're going to humiliate Tebow in the preseason, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like you got a guy who hasn't played football in 9
years.
10 years. I imagine he's kept himself in pretty good shape. He did try playing minor league ball with the Mets or something.
It's not the same. Come on.
No. I'm not, and I'm not saying it's an apples to apples thing, but I'm saying the man's kept himself in some kind of athletic shape more than probably most people would keep themselves in any kind of shape. After being away from something for so long.
Tebow seems like it's like a lifestyle for him.
He's been playing baseball, but like, is that different? Like being in baseball shape compared to being in football shape? Like those are two different things.
Oh, Fredo, by the way, says, Dave, this is a list of quarterbacks that have won one playoff game. Mark Bulger, Steve Walsh, Brock Osweiler, Case Keenum, Aaron Brooks.
And they're all better than Tebow.
at throwing the ball.
Yeah.
But are they as versatile? Can they also block and catch and
I'm not sure Tebow can do that. Remember when Des Bryant came to the Saints and we were all excited when he had been out of 6 of football.
That was a great
months?
day and a half.
That was 6
breaking
months.
news podcast.
That was
I
6
wasn't
months.
excited.
And he lasted one practice.
I wasn't excited.
And now we're saying
so
Tim
much.
And now we're
Dave,
saying
your boyfriend
Tim Tebow
Mark
after 10
Ingram
years
threw up
is gonna
an
play
X's as a salute to him, even after he got hurt.
And now we're saying Tebow's going to play a different position 10 years later. Come on.
Not happening.
Can we name, Kevin, can you think of any player in the history of the NFL that went more than 2 years without playing, came back and did well? Like Teddy Bridgewater missed 2 years. It was a catastrophic injury, but he was playing the same position. Like, I can't think of anyone that went a decade without playing and mounted to shit. Can any of you?
Nope.
No.
But here's my question.
Look, I'm not. I didn't think he was that good 10 years ago. So I'm expecting him to be worse now. Like, look, it was a nice positive story because he's a genuinely good dude, it seems, and seemingly no skeletons in the closet. Cares about people, tries, does things the right way, all that kind of all that kind of talk. Supportive, inspirational. Does it help that he's religious in a non-threatening way? Yes. So you're going to see we're going to be pulling a lot of that back now in 2021 in current day America. It's going to be more of a shit show. And I just hope if he's good, I just hope that if he's good from the start. And I hope that if he's bad, I hope he fucking tanks within the first 3 or 4 weeks so he gets run the fuck off soon rather than later, because I don't want to see it on my timeline. I try and curate my timeline as best I can. I just hope there's not a lot of nonsense.
You go into Twitter, mute Tebow.
Forever. Yeah, basically.
I will be stunned. I don't need to see all that
get thrown up on my timeline.
I would be stunned if he makes a team. If he makes the team, it's purely for cosmetic reasons. It's purely
because he made Urban Meyer a shit ton of money.
That's right. And that would be the only reason.
I got an important football question for you, Dave, because you are a burgeoning football mind. You study it, you know it, you analyze it. Bigger social media shitstorm. Taysom is the Saints starting quarterback week 1 and wins. Tebow is on the Jacksonville roster and scores a touchdown. What leads ESPN's first take?
Tebow. That is not even close. That is not even a question.
You don't think if Taysom beat Aaron Rodgers, it would lead first take?
I mean, you're talking about. I mean, Taysom has already won games in the NFL. He would have already won the job as starting quarterback, so it wouldn't have been a surprise that he was starting week 1. And you're talking about Tebow scoring a touchdown. No, absolutely.
I feel like y'all underrate
the media.
Social media prowess is strong.
Stop, people. Tebow, the media, they love Tebow. The media loves Tebow. They would be all over that.
Man.
They would be all
over
that.
Tebow is the media likes to complain about Taysom, and Taysom gets a lot of clicks amongst Saints fans, but Tebow's in another stratosphere, man.
I don't know, man. Florio ran Taysom into the ground with the $140 million contract last year. Remember when they were thinking about?
It's not even close,
what kind of tender will they
you
put
forget how Tim Tebow was literally the first topic on every single ESPN segment ad nauseum. It was like, what did he have for breakfast this morning? There was a national obsession with Tim Tebow that has maybe never been rivaled since.
I don't know.
Dude,
I'm in the minority.
He won a Heisman. He won a Heisman. He was in the SEC. The guy that Google Tim Tebow's girlfriend. I'm sure that still comes up and produces a lot of crazy ass stories. Or you can, click back and find out what all that hubbub was about. The guy,
Yeah, but did Tim Tebow ever
the guy was
arouse the
delivering,
special
the
teams
guy was
coach going
delivering
out of the shower?
inspirational speeches. He was delivering inspirational speeches as a college football player. He comes out, plays football. Again, positive story, positive guy, seems genuine, no skeletons. It's a good story. The media loves to latch on to good stories. And he was driving clicks anyway. He was garnering attention from the general public. So it just becomes a feedback loop. The media likes a good story. The public was gravitating towards him already. So it just kept feeding itself infinitely. And then finally, he goes away. And there you go, right there. I don't even know if that's his girlfriend, but it's a photo of Tebow with a hot girl. That shit played on the internet in 2011, or not even 2011, before 2011, when he was still playing college football. And then once he got out of college football, it was still a big deal. It was just funny. The guy just drew a ton of talk. And again, feedback loop. That's it.
He's totally a serial killer.
Taysom Hill,
Yeah.
Taysom Hill can't compete with that.
You don't think, is there nothing, if Tim Tebow scores a touchdown for Jacksonville week 1, Andrew, is there nothing Taysom Hill can do to trump him on SportsCenter?
Nothing.
He can perform open heart surgery on an official at the game that collapses at the 50-yard line during the game. That's maybe all Taysom Hill could do.
I don't know. Maybe like two rushing, 2 passing TD game. Something like that.
Maybe. And drop kicks an extra point.
Maybe something like that.
Fredo says that's a former Miss Universe, Tim Tebow.
Well, good for him. He's a good-looking guy.
Somebody said Aldon Smith was out of the NFL for 5 years. So that shoots my theory to hell. Aldon Smith.
Anyway, he's no Taysom.
He's no Taysom, and it brought up the point to me, Andrew, is we really forget, like, Taysom is a goddamn unicorn. Like, to be able to do what he's done for the Saints, to cover the kicks, the thing is that Taysom does that I'm 100% sure that Tebow cannot. One, he can't throw the ball, but even that, Taysom, Andrew, I don't know how he does it. He does not look like a quarterback playing other positions. Like when he lines up in the slot for the Saints, he looks like an H-back. When he covers kicks, he looks like a gunner. Tim Tebow has always, when he's tried to be a punt protector or whatever, he always looks like a quarterback trying to do something else. And that is like Taysom's secret sauce, I think, that Tebow is not going to have.
Yeah, Taysom is like no one else. He has a very unique skill set. And I think that's part of what makes him so exciting for us. But
that's why he got $140 million.
Look, we've already talked enough about Tim Tebow. I'm done with it. Like he's not going to make the team, and if he does, it's stupid. Like that's all I have to say.
And it's not the Saints, and this is the Saints.
Yeah, so it's just dumb. It's stupid. It's like I think we all see it for what it is. Even Jaguars fans see it for what it is, and it's just like, why are we doing this song and dance? Like it's just comical. It's silly.
The likes, the retweets, the clicks.
It's just a waste of everyone's time.
It's a feedback loop.
I want to get a chance to plug, if you're not a patron, you should become a patron because we have an awesome Discord channel and we talk Saints all the time. But we have a new Discord channel on our server where people that are going to Saints road games can like meet up and chat and like figure out how to meet up when they go on the road games. And that brought up a great question to me, Andrew, Dave, Kevin, like what road games are the ones that you're going to attend or the most fun? I think the Tennessee one is the potential. Like Nashville seems like a fun town to go to.
Yep. No, that's it. I mean, a couple of people in my personal life, I've already been like, oh, if I'm going to go to a game, it's going to be the Tennessee game. I think
that's a good situation too, just in terms of like the stadium and you're downtown and you it's not like for example, Carolina is a good one too. Like it's close to the airport and you're kind of downtown in the heart of the action. Like the Washington football team. That's one I would consider going to just because it's close to where I live. That's transit wise. That and Charlotte are kind of the closest to me. But like you got to go to Landover, Maryland. It's nowhere near DC. There's nothing around there. Like it's in the middle of nowhere. So like going to those games is kind of lame. I prefer the stadiums like New Orleans where you're kind of in the heart of the action, and after the game's over, you can actually go do stuff and be in a good part of town and get a nice hotel and go out to eat somewhere or get a drink. So like Washington is kind of terrible for that.
Seattle.
So, no, I mean, you said it though. No, I mean Tennessee's the one. That's your one.
Seattle to me is they're down there. It's the stadium's not necessarily downtown, but it is. They do have a great public transportation system, so you can catch it and it's easy. It's right by the baseball stadium and it's set up well. The thing about the Seattle game though is late October in Seattle, the weather could be dicey, and that's a concern. And
Totally.
Seattle fans, from what I hear, are just not very pleasant. Although you can mitigate crappy fans, just if you're going to go on a Saints road trip, my number one advice to you is spend as much money as possible on your tickets and cut corners at your hotel and other things. Because if you can get a really good ticket, when you're in the really nice seats, you don't have to deal with the shitty upper deck people. Like that's my number one advice. Whenever I go on a Saints road trip, when I've gone to San Francisco, when I've gone to Miami, when I've gone to Atlanta, like get the best seat you can get. That sort of makes your experience better, at least during the game. Going in and out of the stadium, you got to deal with the riffraff, whatever. But that's my advice for road games. Dave, is there any other road game you might be looking at?
No, not really. I mean, I guess for me personally, I'm from New York, so like, I would maybe potentially go to the Jets game and make a trip home out of it and get to see my family and friends who I haven't seen.
But that's
in
a
forever.
nightmare. That's a nightmare going to that stadium, right?
It's obnoxious. Well, but it's like because I'm from New York, and like I'm gonna be staying, on Long Island or in Queens or Brooklyn or something like that, and it's just like, you got to go all the way out to Jersey.
No, speaking of Long Island, you're gonna give us an Islander update today?
Yes, we are up 1-0 so far on the Pens.
Oh, thank God for that. Huge relief.
We won in overtime. Thank you for reminding me, Ralph. And this is officially the start of your regular New York Islander playoff Stanley Cup updates.
Yeah, you fit it to 30 seconds. Our listeners appreciate it.
I did.
Here's something that I heard on Mike Lombardi's podcast, Andrew, and it was interesting, and it made me think. He was talking about the 17-game schedule. All the fans, we think about it as, oh my God, how do you play 17 games? But it's really the games, the extra game doesn't matter. It's the amount of plays that the players play. So he was saying that he thinks, especially in September and early, the good teams, the deep teams, are going to try to limit the snaps of their important players to the same amount of snaps that they played in 16 games. So he's like, it's only 5 to 7 snaps different a game, right? So I got to thinking, how would Sean Payton go about doing that? And what positions do you think the Saints would be deep enough to try to do that? Or can they do it anywhere?
Depends on the expanded rosters, I guess. But yeah, I think theoretically I think a lot of times you get stuck playing guys you don't really want to play because of the numbers. Just you have 53 guys and you can only play 46 or whatever on game day. And so a lot of times, I mean, we've all had those, right? Where we're all screaming at the television, why is Drew still in the game? Or why is Kamara? Why are they still handing off to Kamara? And we go nuts and we scream at the TV. And I think a lot of times just, yeah, I've never understood that, why you wouldn't just hand the ball off to Dwayne Washington. But, sometimes it's like a couple receivers go down and you're forced to play him. But I don't know. I'll be surprised. Like, I just think at the end of the day, it's so hard to win an NFL game. And I just think that sounds nice in practice. But when it comes down to it and the game's on the line and they've got a decision like, I can roll out Peyton Turner for a couple more snaps, or I can play Cam Jordan and make sure I put this puppy to bed, and Cam Jordan's going to be in the game. So we'll see. Like, maybe some coaches will be better than others at executing it, but I just have a hard time believing that Sean Payton's not going to throw that shit right out the window the minute a game is on the line.
Kevin, I know me and you used to be on the same page as far as like preseason games. Thomas put up my tweet about. I'm still fucking incensed about the Halloween game. Like the Halloween Saints game at 3:30.
Yeah.
I'm more pissed than you. I promise.
It's the act of football terrorism. And I'm not going to get over it.
But
I mean, Kevin,
I knew there was going to be some bullshit game they were going to stick us with this year.
Always do. Oh, we got. Well, how are you feeling about Thanksgiving, Dave?
I'm not. I was about to say I'm really not happy about the Thanksgiving game either because I mean I don't know. I'm gonna have to see if I can get like the whole family to go. I guess see if I can get my in-laws and cousins and stuff to go. Maybe.
You've always had rants on the show and have been very angry about Christmas Day games. So is that less offensive to you? Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean the Saints have had. I love the Saints playing on Thanksgiving. I just like it when they're away, and I could just be at home and eat and hang out and just watch them and relax. I hate it when it's home and you got to deal with the whole game day experience and being away from your family and all that kind of stuff. So,
Kevin, is there anything in the schedule that got your ire up? I know you hate Goodell just as much as we do. So I was wondering if there's anything in the schedule that caught your eye.
Yeah, this it's just. I mean, I'm looking through it even now, and it's like, you know, obviously I don't have kids, so the Halloween game doesn't bother me. But I guess I'm potentially more put off by
Joe Buck and Troy Aikman week 1.
Yeah. Although that'll be mitigated because the Packers will likely be a shit show at quarterback. So
your lips to God's ear.
Like that's I mean that'll just be my hope for that. I mean they got 3 road games. Right? Am I looking at this thing right? These fools can't even label this shit correctly. What am I looking at?
If Roger Goodell was an ice cream flavor, he'd be pralines and dick.
No, hang on. No, that's not 3 road games. What am I looking at?
But one thing...
I don't know. This is like watching my grandfather try to operate Facebook.
Yeah.
Here's the question I wanted to ask you, Kevin, because remember back in the day when it was me and you doing this podcast, and we had the Hakeem Drops the Ball blog, which was the number 87th best Saints blog in history. We used to constantly make fun of the preseason.
You're too kind.
Yeah, no, you are.
Yeah, how much we hated it. But now, Kevin, that they're only going to have 3 preseason games. Do you feel like the teams are going to do anything different in the preseason and put the Saints quarterback battle aside, which kind of makes the Saints preseason more interesting than normal? Do you think the preseason is going to be different because it's only 3 games?
I hope so. I mean, it's wasted football anyway. Like you'll get everybody's going to do the same thing when there's like a month out, 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, 1 week out. You're going to see it on Twitter and Facebook and everything. Oh, we're 1 month away from football. We're 3 weeks away from football, 2 weeks away. And everybody's going to psych themselves up. And within 10 minutes
it's not even 10 minutes.
Preseason football action, the switch is going to be flipped on everybody, and suddenly it's going to be, oh yeah, this fucking sucks. When's the real game's going to happen?
Yeah, but I
This
feel like
happens
the first game we
every
talked.
fucking year, and it's stupid.
It's true, but we always talk
Preseason
ourselves into the
football
first one.
is stupid. We
I
wind
agree.
ourselves up, and we hand these franchises over our ticket money, or your season ticket money, or whatever. It's a fucking waste. If again, this is me saying all this, but if you think I don't pay attention during the regular season, you're going to have to tell me that there's a preseason game happening. Why even pay attention? Did anybody get hurt? That's it. Did anybody get hurt? Did anybody look really good? Otherwise, I don't care.
You care about your UDFA son after you draft him.
Well, I'll wait until we make a draft on that.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
But here,
I don't know. Maybe it's not having preseason last year, and also changing quarterbacks for the first time in 15 years. But I am a little intrigued. Like, I want to see Ian Book. I want to see Taysom Hill. I want to see Jameis. So, like, even Simeon, I'm a little just interested. So,
I can't.
I'm
wait,
more excited,
Dave,
and
for the
I'm glad. Look, it's only 3 instead of 4, so that's a good thing. We've reduced it by 1 because it's the 4th that kills me. Every year, it's the 4th one where I just have total mental fatigue, and I'm like, I'd rather us just not have football for a week.
Well, I feel like
the way I feel like they're going to do it is the first game is going to be your normal, typical, sloppy first game. Your second game is going to become like your third preseason game, where the second game is like the dress rehearsal, where maybe your starters play a whole half or something, and then the third game is going to be all starters resting, all second, third, fourth stringers battling it out for a roster spot. If I had to guess, I feel like that's going to be the flow of the 3 preseason games.
Does that change though with the Saints because they have a quarterback battle? Maybe Sean Payton needs that third week to figure it out. If Taysom is rocking it, I mean, just saying. The one thing with the 3 preseason games, to me, Dave, is the Saints have so much uncertainty. Like, they have the quarterback uncertainty, they have middle of the roster uncertainty. You really think the 3rd preseason game is going to be like the 4th preseason game, where it's going to be total rest, that they're just it's going to be the same?
See, I think it could be a little bit of a hybrid. Yeah. I think Dave's mostly right, but I just think there'll be questions that they have with the 3rd preseason games that they wouldn't have if there was a 4th.
I don't know. I think your Cam Jordans.
Oh yeah.
Your definite starter guys. They are not playing in that 3rd preseason game. They are getting rest before they are about to start their new 17 game long.
Well, I will say this, Roger Goodell, I hate you for putting a Saints game on Halloween at 3:30, but you did do me a solid and put the Saints' first preseason game on a Saturday, and the day before on Friday. My wife really likes.
My wife.
She likes Matchbox 20. I like the Wallflowers, so we can go to the Woodlands and catch them in concert.
Why would you say that? Why would you admit that on this podcast? Dude, Matchbox 20?
No, I don't care about Matchbox 20. I like the Wallflowers because Jacob Dylan is the best Dylan. That's a fact.
I'm thinking.
Wow.
No, that is not a fact.
Wow.
But, I think. First of all, there would be no Jacob Dylan without Bob Dylan. I'm rethinking.
Like
I'm
I
rethinking
names. I said it.
Ralph, you know what? I'm personally rethinking this whole Halloween 3:30 game now. You know what? I think it's still going to suck for you, but I don't think it's going to suck for me now, because now I'm thinking like we're just going to make a huge, like, somebody I know or multiple people I know are going to be having like big Halloween Saints parties. I mean, like, there's going to be tons of like, and like whatever.
I could see that. That'd be cool.
I mean, it's going to wind up actually probably being awesome.
Somebody in the locker room chat Wednesday told me that I need to start now laying the groundwork for trick or treating on Saturday.
Nah, well, maybe maybe you
Yeah.
could just take your kids around on Saturday by yourself.
Come to think of it, I wonder if there's a way to fool my daughter. It's going to be her birthday, which makes it so much worse for me. But I'm wondering if there's a way to fool her into thinking that October 31st is on Saturday.
Yeah,
She'll be turning 8. I don't know how dialed in she is to the calendar.
She'll
Yeah,
just be wondering.
I think you could pull it out. I think you can pull it off. You just gotta plan it out. You gotta start like a couple days ahead of time and be like, oh, it's like on Wednesday. Be like, man, that's awesome. Your birthday is Saturday, man. I cannot wait. Like you just gotta. I think you could pull it off.
Well, you could luck out. Like if the forecast for Sunday night, like the weather for Sunday, is like really terrible. Like they might locally in your area say, oh, we're gonna, you know what, we're gonna do it on Saturday.
Yeah,
I mean, they've done that before. Weather has definitely changed.
There's also just like doing it on a school night and like just the advantage of Saturday night. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, Saturday night
fingers.
Be
it might be okay.
While we're totally off the rails here, do we have an update from Kevin? Like a love update, like a doctor.
Oh yeah,
love update?
Kevin. Yeah. So real quick on that, she and I hadn't seen each other. We hadn't seen each other for like close to 3 weeks because she'd been on call and working a different type of shift.
Now, hold on. How recent was that after you told her about the podcast? So right after you told her about the podcast.
No.
How long before this kind of 3 weeks?
Immediately.
No. It was a while. So finally got to see her. Again on Saturday. So spent Saturday morning and afternoon with her before coming into work. So
we're coming into work, huh?
Yeah, I like the love updates because it gives me a chance to play the ER theme. Thanks, Dave. Makes me happy.
I didn't even do that.
Kevin, things are fine. Going.
Yeah, no, things are fine.
Little shaky.
Things are fine.
Okay.
No.
What we want to hear.
No. Here's the thing. I have fear of abandonment issues and a lot of other problems from my dating life, childhood that have just continued to manifest themselves into my adulthood. It's whatever. So I have to deal with that.
The title of this podcast says Tim Tebow wishes he was Taysom Hill, but it really should say psychoanalyzing Kevin Held.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm glad. See, that is when we've turned the corner from regular Saints having news, actual football talk. There's a point in May where like the podcast just gets really weird until like the beginning of July. I don't know the official date that it happens every year, but we've definitely crossed it and we're into it now. Because
speaking of fear of abandonment, questioning your own self-worth, just generally feeling old and kind of just depressed. The Saints just signed Lorenzo Neal.
Oh my
God.
And
when I saw that, I was like, that's funny. There's a guy that has the same name as a fullback that used to be on our team. And nope, it's his son. It's Lorenzo Neal's kid is now on the Saints.
I didn't think there was something that could make me feel older than Joe Horn's son potentially being drafted by the Saints. But there is. It's the Saints signing Lorenzo Neal's kid.
The one thing that's, Ralph, you've been talking for a long time about how the Saints don't have a Malcolm Brown replacement. They don't have a true nose. Looks like Lorenzo Neal is 325 pounds from what I read. So maybe he's the fat guy we've all been begging
That'd
for.
be amazing. Like if
he's also eligible for the UDFA draft.
Yeah. Oh man, if he would become the fat guy defensive tackle for the Saints and like have like a nice career, that'd be amazing. Because his dad for the Saints, people think of Lorenzo Neal as like this mauling fullback that just crushed people as Eddie George's blocker and that sort of thing.
Eddie
and
George.
for little Damian Tomlinson.
Oh.
But when he was a rookie for the Saints, he was like 30 pounds lighter, and he was a really, really good, fun running back, and then broke his leg hideously and just decided to be a fullback and maul people. But yeah, I don't. Kevin, did you feel as old as me and Juge when you heard the news of Lorenzo Neal's son is now on the Saints?
No, I was just like, I thought that I was just glad I hadn't Mandela affected myself, because I was like, oh, that name sounds familiar. And then I was like, oh no, yeah, that really was a football player, back in the day. So I was just glad that I wasn't like going insane having turned 40 or anything, and just imagining a guy named Lorenzo Neal having played professional football. I'm glad that actually existed. Okay, he has a kid. He's playing football too. Tremendous. To hell with. It's not about feeling old. I'm just glad this works up here.
Well,
That's
I
it.
have to say, Dave, he wears number 9, even though he's 325 pounds. I feel like if you're a player and you're on defense and you wear like a single digit or you wear a number in the 20s and you play in the front 7, you always look tinier than you actually are.
He looks, I don't know, we're looking at this picture right here. He looks pretty big. That one single number digit there's a lot of room on either side of that 9. I can see. I can see there's a lot going on.
He's also
around
wearing
that
black. Let's just remember, black is very slimming.
Right, so that means he's even bigger than what we're looking at.
Yeah, Thomas, I just posted a picture of him wearing a white jersey in the chat. So if you wanna go ahead and post that, we can get it actually gives a tremendous shot of his gut, and you can see just how much he's every bit of 325.
Does he have
that's what I'm
Ted
saying.
Washington,
He looked
Brady
big in that
Jackson, Norman Hand potential, Andrew?
I mean, we'll see. I was reading about it. He tore his, so he was a good prospect and kind of had some NFL potential, and then he tore his ACL, and then he came back and didn't do much, I think, last year. So it's kind of a question mark on like, did he just take it? So look at that beautiful gut right there.
Yeah,
that's Lorenzo on there. That's his dad, senior, on the right, number 42.
Black is so slimming.
Black is slimming, right?
Yeah, it is.
He looked big in that picture in the black.
Yeah, not as big as he looks in the white though. Whew.
And you look bigger when you're wearing one single number.
Well, now he can wear a
9.
Yeah, I mean
number,
that
right?
9.
Now he
that
can
9
go
looks like
number
it's
9
sitting
at
on the
defensive
gut.
tackle, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say he's potentially a UDFA draft pick. I mean, Trill got cut. This guy. He might be in there.
What number did Drew wear when he was at Purdue? Was he 5? Did he bring? He wasn't 9, was he?
No, he was a double-digit guy at Purdue, I think.
Was he?
Was he 15?
Maybe. He might have been 15.
I think there was
somebody in the chat.
He wasn't 9.
He was 15. I nailed it.
Because that would be wild if he wore number 9 at Purdue, and then now Lorenzo Neal wears number 9 at Purdue.
I got that Drew Brees trivia correct. Number 15.
I knew there was a 5 in there.
Andrew, here's a question I have for you. You're our resident cap guy. You understand all the ins and outs and the contracts and stuff. And I see all these other teams signing their draft picks, first round picks, that sort of thing. And I know the Saints aren't doing it because they have like $8 of cap space. And I know they will eventually sign all their draft picks because you have to. And they're going to have to create about like $5-point-something million of cap space. So who do you think will be the candidate that gets the restructure or the extension to create the 5? Because they got to do it some kind of way. Like Loomis, he'll do the Loomis math, but he has to pull a lever to make it happen. What do you think they'll do to create the $5.5 million in cap space to sign the draft picks? And could it be an extension for one of the big potential guys that are left with 1 year left on their deal.
Yeah, I just think anytime you're a guy, like anytime you're a dude that's franchised, you just want a long-term deal. Like you don't want to play on a 1-year deal where you're risking a ACL tear and you gotta wonder about whether you're going to make it through the season on that franchise tag. So I still think Marcus Williams is the most likely of the three to get a long-term deal. I tend to think it's easier because you have a little leverage in the sense that like he's like kind of bummed, like I don't want to play on this 1-year tag, and I'd much rather have a long-term deal. See, while Ramczyk and Lattimore are both on 1-year deals technically as well, and it both pays them nicely, I think there's kind of a little bit less like they were never under the illusion that they were going to get a taste of free agency this year. Whereas I think there's psychologically maybe a little bit of a difference for Marcus Williams, thinking he was going to get in free agency and entertain a bunch of offers, and then he gets tagged and boom, it's over. Like I think he's not going to want to do that song and dance if he can get a long-term commitment from the Saints. Whereas Ramczyk and Lattimore are looking at each other and going, well, if free agency comes, they can't tag us both. So there's a chance I'll be on the free agent market and have a shot at, a wide open market. So I think both of them would be happy to enter free agency next year if they don't get kind of a sweetheart deal from the Saints.
So here's the thing. I got this idea because it's weird. I tweeted, it was like 5 or 6 years ago where the Saints were losing to Seattle. And I was like, if the Saints come back and win this game, I will try to eat cat food. And I tweeted it out and they came back and won. So I had to do it. And cat food repulses me in a way that I cannot describe to you. So I failed at it, but I attempted it. And it got me to thinking, wouldn't it be fun if we did like a way to get more patrons, to get you guys to support the show, the people that we love, the patrons, but we have a lot more people that listen to the show that aren't patrons. So I was thinking of a fun idea. We were kicking ideas around. So I thought it would be hysterical if, because you guys hate so much the fact that we talk about RAS so much, wouldn't it be funny if we reached 350 patrons by the first week of the preseason, if we decided to do a fun sort of prank and had hit me in the face with a RAS-berry pie. And Thomas, of course, makes this graphic where he's got my nerd crippled face right there for everyone to see.
Yes, my crippled ass.
With a pie ready to hit me in the face.
Is that a pie or is that a bucket of shit?
Either way, I'll do either one for 350 patrons. No, I won't do a bucket of shit, but I will do a raspberry pie.
Yeah,
raspberry.
Right.
A raspberry pie.
RAS-berry pie.
Yeah. In the face if we reach 350 patrons. And Thomas is nice enough to do the fabulous graphic. We'll add it up. We'll tally it each week. So sign up, become a patron, and do your part so I can take a pie in the face.
You got to get that. You got to get that soundbite. The in the face sound.
I feel like there should also be a contest where we put different things on Ralph's wall, like different fat heads, mini fat heads,
different shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd like for there to be some contest where you get a different weird sticker to go on your wall.
Maybe that can be.
Or maybe fans can just mail Ralph stuff that we can put up there.
Yeah.
If you mail me a fat head, I'll put it up. We have all this
picture
space right here,
like
and we can even reveal. We can do a
face.
special reveal every week.
Yeah, that's what
behind the floor.
A 28-3 scoreboard thingy. That'd be good.
28-3 right here for forever. 28-3.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
A picture of what's the Les East? A picture of Les East's face.
Nah,
that'd be good.
Hell, dude. You go to hell, dude.
Eric Paulson.
Paulson. Paulson.
Oh yeah. Get a photo of Eric Paulson and his.
Just put a bullseye over their faces.
We should put Eric Paulson and
Yeah.
Paulson Adebo's faces
I
right
don't
next to
know.
each other.
I don't know how it's going to happen, but Les East is going to defeat us for podcast of the year.
Does he even have a podcast?
Nah.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't
We
usually-
have to get
usually-
nominated first for Les East to beat us.
We typically lose to my my cousin when it comes to podcasts. So
It's Ghana, yeah.
My
looking
cousin.
forward to looking forward to that happening.
Before we get to questions, Kevin, I have a question for you. The Saints, for their schedule release, did a really great video with Cam Jordan, and it was fantastic. If you haven't seen it on social media, you should check it out. And the Falcon, and of course, Cam Jordan was just clowning on the Falcons. And the Falcons tried to retaliate with this graphic that was like me Photoshop quality. Why do the Falcons suck at social media so badly, Kevin? That's an abomination.
What is that?
I don't even. If Thomas
What?
turned that in, I would say Thomas do better.
Well, I listen to Kids Bop because my kids are infatuated with Kids Bop.
That sounds like a you problem, Dave.
And even I think that this is this is an insult to Kids Bop.
But it's also like, well, you're gonna call the team that just swept you and won the division 4 years in a row Kids Bop? You know, like if you're gonna tool on us, at least like make a Katrina joke that's in poor taste, or like I don't know, make fun of Mardi Gras. I mean, you can't because it's awesome.
It's the worst idea I've ever heard in my lifetime.
I don't know, man. But
I
like
don't get
kids,
it,
Kids
though.
Bop, like they're
Exactly.
basically saying that like the Saints play a children version of football, right? That's kind of what the joke is.
Is that it?
Yeah, I don't get it either. It's like, hang on a minute, man. Mike
Maybe I'm
Thomas
missing the
can't-
point,
like
but it's
all
just
of
like
those players you would take all of those players.
Shouldn't
If
have
you
to-
told Falcons fans, hey, we can have Jameis Winston in training camp to compete with or push Matt Ryan, there's a sizable chunk of Falcons fans that would jump on that. And then almost every Falcon fan would gladly take Mike Thomas over Julio Jones. They would gladly take Kamara over whoever they got as their starter at running back. And they would sure as hell welcome Cam Jordan to their defensive squad. So I don't get it. Like,
I mean, there's just so much
I'm
material, like
honestly-
Brandon Browner, Spagnola, like make fun
Like-
of us for our playoff exits the last 4 years. Like,
Like, dude, like, you know what was funnier was it last year or the year before where they did that goofy Game of Thrones thing
Yeah.
where
And
they
they
had the
little
Ram
Ram,
come in
like, knock
and hit
the
the
Saints
Saints
off. That was
fan
good.
or player, and there was a referee that ran up and didn't do anything. Like, this is just bad. Like this there's no needling. It's not even insulting. It's just poorly. This is the equivalent of your goofball aunt on Facebook sharing one of those stupid fucking t-shirts that has like 9 different fonts on it. Like, I'm a Gemini and I do this and I have a daughter who does this and I care about this and we eat cupcakes on Sunday. It's like, it's all that bullshit you see and you get the same ads for it like 5 or 6 times. Like, this is terrible.
Speaking of
This is
that,
terrible.
I
And I'm
made a-
sure this thing,
horrible, this
I'm
idea.
sure this thing was workshopped by people in the front office.
My God, they probably had 30 hours of meetings on
Like,
that.
anybody on the Falcons social media team under the age of 30 probably thinks this thing is an abomination, and rightly so. Like, this is terrible. This is terrible.
Is it as terrible as blowing a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl?
No, nothing is.
Maybe.
No,
sick burn,
no.
sick burn, Ralph.
Thomas,
Thomas-
it's time to get to questions.
Thomas
Fire
was
up
just
the
playing the video, the schedule release video that Cam Jordan was in. Who was that other guy? Was that Ray Nagin? Did they let Ray Nagin out of jail?
music.
I-
I
in
was
that
wondering.
video?
I was wondering the same thing. Who is that
Ugh.
guy?
Yeah.
I think that was fucking Ray Nagin.
What, they get him out of prison?
Deal on some
Yeah.
countertops.
All right, let's
Thomas, fire up
take
the
it to the
music.
top.
we got to get to questions. I don't even hear it. There we go.
Ralph hears it.
I hear it. But no
Are we
one else.
sure Ralph hears it and this just isn't voices in his head?
It could be. Could be. Crank
Because
that
none
up.
of us hear it. None of us hear it.
I hear nothing.
I hear nothing.
Wait, you don't hear it, Ralph?
I don't hear it. I'm just dancing here. I'll just
There
play
it
it myself.
What about now?
That's me.
Well, my screen froze at a very hilarious time.
There it is.
There it is.
Are you gonna do
Alright.
the finger guns? There you go. Okay.
My screen froze for the rest of you, where it looks like I'm farting or something.
Only
Never
you are
mind.
frozen, Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah, Kevin, that is quite a face.
You should save that screenshot, Tomas.
Okay, Tomas.
Hey,
Tomas,
Tomas, check the time.
check
Only-
the timestamp
If
on
only
this.
there was... Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I put that up for you. Thanks.
What do you got, Thomas?
Okay, first question from our patron Discord from Preston. Warren Sharp says the Eagles have the second worst rest schedule and the Panthers have the easiest best. What is the Saints rest schedule?
I think I'd have to turn. It's just like a RAS mixed
I
with.
don't know, Preston. Why don't you ask Warren Sharp?
Is that? Yeah,
What is a rest schedule?
Like, you know.
I
like
don't even
your
know. Is that like
schedule
when you
has,
take
like,
naps?
is-
Like my son, like we put him down at 3:30 every day.
No, I think it just means like it's the most friendly for, you know, you travel and getting the most rest and you know, the most time between games and that kind of stuff.
I mean, the Saints schedule is pretty bad. I mean, like having to go Seattle, and then home, and then Tampa. That's pretty bad. And then I mean, the Sunday Thanksgiving one is pretty bad too. So
Hang on, I looked this up. So according to CBS Sports, the team with the highest strength of schedule.
No, this is not strength of schedule.
This is rest
my
schedule.
strength of schedule
Oh.
is rest. I don't even know how you calculate that.
Raf.
Yeah, man, what is Preston doing? What the hell is this? Come on, man.
What next?
Come on, man. Okay, next question from Budrich. Let's go. How soon could Loomis get on the phone if the Bears release Jimmy Graham?
I don't know. Do we really want him? Breeze is gone. You know,
Yes.
This isn't going to be like the Breeze to Graham connection anymore. I mean, it's just,
Nah,
No, but we
Dave,
want
don't do
Jimmy.
this to me though.
We
I
want
mean,
him
like you're
inject
never.
it
Jimmy,
into my
it's Jimmy.
veins.
I mean,
Yes.
like I would have let you have it. Like if Breeze was still on the team and they were thinking about bringing Jimmy Graham, I would have let you fantasize and have this time and have this moment. But like Breeze is gone now, so there's
Did
and
you
like
see
and
that
my
one-
God,
did
how
you
old is
see
Jimmy
that
Graham?
one-handed? Did you see that one-handed touchdown catch at the end of that playoff game though?
That's
I
right.
did. I
My
did.
God!
And it's not
Okay.
like the Saints have.
All I want is
options
that
at the
just
end.
one more time, Dave. Just one
I
more.
went and looked up the rest differential.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So Preston, you can get off our asses now. Carolina it is the worst, I guess. They're at 12 and a
Explain to me
half.
what the fuck rest.
I don't,
differential
and
is.
look, I don't understand what it means, but Carolina seems to be the worst with 12 and a half. The Saints are in 8th with 7 and a half.
I don't even know.
So there you go. And then who has the best rest differential? The New England Patriots with minus 15,
Of course.
followed by the Bears at minus 14, and Washington football team at minus 13 and a half.
Interesting.
What next?
Okay, so we switch to the Twitter questions now. This one is from Eric Brignac. If JC Horn hides a cell phone under the goalpost for every Saints-Panthers game in case he gets an interception, will you be furious or will you respect it a bit?
Well, Michael Thomas already did it,
Yeah.
right? So there's already been kind of an homage to Joe Horn. I would think it's lame.
Yeah.
Like it's already been recreated by Michael Thomas, and so I just feel like if
Sequels
J.C.
are
Horn did it,
bad. The third version of a movie is always usually terrible.
it would just start to feel. You know how like every team sprints to the end zone now when they get a turnover. Like
That's
everyone
right.
does that. It's just like it's just dumb now because everyone does it. It's not.
Well,
original.
no. I mean, he just needs to up it. Like he needs to hide like a tablet or something, like instead
gun.
of a phone.
Ooh, now that
No.
That fire
Let's
into
go
the
full
stands.
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, this shit just got really dark.
Yeah.
Hang on.
This just turned into unnecessary. What was that movie?
Wait a minute.
Last
Unnecessary
Boy
roughness.
No,
Yeah,
no,
Last
no,
Boy
no.
Last the Boy
Scout.
Scout.
Yeah, the Last Boy Scout. Yeah.
Hang on. So
what if
I
he
figured it out.
hides a gun and then shoots his dick off?
You're gonna shoot your dick off.
I had the rest differential backwards.
We know.
So
Well, I
the
knew
Panthers, the Panthers have the
We're
best
still on the
rest
first
differential.
question?
Yes,
Yeah,
we are.
Yeah, we're back to the
The
first.
Panthers had the best rest differential. The Saints have the eighth best rest differential,
Right.
and apparently rest differential has
Also,
something
the Patriots
to do.
have the worst.
Yes,
Wow.
apparently
Take that,
rest
Belichick.
differential has something to do with how many teams you end up playing that are coming off of buys.
Oh.
You think you know, but you don't know.
All right,
and you
well done.
never will.
Well done, Ralph. Well done.
Look
Yeah.
at Kevin educating us about
Yeah.
football.
Yeah.
I know.
Look at
I'm
that.
just as surprised as the rest of you.
Mhm.
When was the
Wow.
last time Kevin was on and he had stats? He had the Ian Book stats, and it like threw us all for a loop. We were
Kevin
like,
has like been on his
He always
game.
has stats.
yeah, he's
Again,
Is
I'm
it
the guy.
possible
I'm
that
the.
Is it possible that intelligence is sexually transmitted?
God, I hope so.
He is dating a doctor.
God, I hope so.
How do we know it works that way? What if it works the other way and he's made her stupid?
Oh well, I think that's definitely
Wake
in
up.
play.
Tomas, you need to isolate. You need to isolate a Simpsons soundbite. Me fail English? That's impossible. Go find that.
What next?
Ralph. Ralph is on it
Okay.
with the sound bites tonight.
I know.
Next question from Bullsmith. Any returning practice squad members you feel might be able to make the roster and contribute?
Who's on the practice squad?
Well, Tony
Lil-
Jones, come
Lil
on,
Jordan.
Kevin. Let's pump some Tony Jones here. This is your chance.
Is Lil Jordan a practice squad guy?
Yeah, he counts. I
Oh,
would say
my
Keith
UDFA
Washington.
son, Throckmorton.
Yeah, Keith Washington. Throckmorton.
Yeah.
Well, I would say Keith Washington, not only because he's my UDFA son, but more like cornerback 2 is still a gaping hole to me. Like, who's our second corner?
Ooh.
Gaping.
I mean, PJ Williams, Patrick Robinson, Keith Washington, Adebo.
Keith Washington had a minute in
Reach
training
in that
camp,
little
though,
bag
in the
and
summer.
see what name you pull out, because corner
Keith-
2 is a problem.
Keith Washington had like a week of hype where he was getting a lot of articles written
Yeah.
about him, and like a lot of tweets from the Underhills and the Larry Holders were like, "The Saints really like him. He could be good. He's got all the physical skills you want in a corner."
And then you
So,
got Blake
what
Gilligan.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot it. I forgot completely about him. But he's not he was IR'd. He wasn't practice squad. though.
True.
All right, Thomas.
Next question from Saints Rabbit. If Jameis ends up being successful next season and beyond with the Saints, what kind of crab legs do we need to start eating in his honor?
I prefer the big king crab. Like,
Yeah,
Yep.
I guess the biggest possible.
like the Alaskan.
What do you eat? What kind of crab legs do you eat if he's a failure? To get him out of town, like to celebrate that he's leaving.
Mm,
Do Do you eat like
Raw.
imitation? crab meat?
Imitation crab, yeah. You get like
Yes.
California roll.
Chinese.
It's not
no,
even real
Chinese
crab.
crab
Yeah.
from China.
What next?
Okay, final question for this show comes from Christmas. We've seen multiple records of Jameis working out with Saints receivers, but there are no similar reports about Taysom. Are the rumors about his workouts that aren't going public? And if not, does this indicate something important?
Well, yeah, I don't know much other than I can promise you Taysom Hill's working his ass off. That is. I
Is
mean,
he working with other
what does
receivers?
it say?
Yeah, I don't know.
What does it say
I mean,
for
they're
the
all with
receivers for
Taysom.
the
I mean, they're all with
Saints?
Jameis, so no.
Yeah, like that's like
It's
a
a great
vote of
question.
confidence. Like
No, it's a great question. It's a great observation.
Yeah. Like Taysom can be working his butt off, but like the rest of the team and the receivers have decided
We're gonna go
Jason
hang
is
out with
gonna be the guy.
Jameis.
Yeah, like Jason's the guy.
Jason.
Jason.
Nice.
Ralph can't say anyone's name right.
Right on cue. Beautiful.
Right.
This has been a good sound.
We're hitting our
bite, man.
stride.
Yeah.
Those production meetings, Thomas, they're working out.
Well done.
Yeah.
Welcome to Uganda.
Well, and there it goes. And you
yeah,
ruined it.
as soon as we compliment him,
We're off the rails.
that is the worst joke I've ever heard.
That's the worst joke I've ever heard. Are those two different ones?
Yeah.
No.
No, well, that was me doing it the first time.
It was
Pretty
really
That
good,
was-
Angela.
Yeah, I thought that was. The sound.
Yeah.
You fooled
You thought
Dave.
that was a soundbite? Awesome.
Huge is the impressionist.
It's so good. So that wraps it up, right? But the final thing, though, does the Saints wide receiver, does it tell us anything, Andrew? I think it does. Like that they know it's Jameis.
Well, I've heard several teammates have interviews this offseason, and Kamara has probably been the most political. Like, kind of riding the fence, not really committing one way or another. And then you hear like Cam Jordan and Lattimore, who have kind of more clearly sided with Jameis. Like, yeah, I think he's the guy. Like, I think he's our quarterback. And yeah, I mean, this is another statement. Like, seeing all the receivers train with Jameis, I think if you were to ask the locker room, it seems like most of the locker room is all in on Jameis, not Taysom. That's the sense I get. That's the vibe for sure.
Yeah. So we got it. We didn't talk about it but it's coming. I promise. The Drew Brees bad decision bracket. We're working on it. Thomas is doing graphics that are amazing. We're seeding it. It's going to start in a couple of weeks probably. But we got to save that because that's going to get us through the dark times of late May and June as we try to get ourselves to training camp in July. But well, it's true. I mean, worst.
No, I'm just looking
bracket,
at this graphic, and the shirt, the hat, the diamond, it's just,
I mean,
it's a great graphic. It's
It,
funny.
and Thomas came up with a great way for, we usually do the bracket where we vote and that's the final decision. But this year we have a way for people to be interactive, and you guys that listen to the show and can vote on some polls, and you guys can have a say in who wins and who moves on with some polls that we're going to do during the week leading up to these bracket shows. So stay tuned for that. So it should be amazing. We got the Saints. They'll do some moves. People will get arrested. They'll have some off season. They'll have some off season. Some people will get drunk. Things will be bad.
Somebody's gonna whip out their penis and start peeing in front of a woman.
It's
Gotta happen.
It's things. There's always
From an
some
apartment complex.
knucklehead that does something dumb, and he's a Saint, and it happens in June every year.
Somebody's gonna be found sleeping in their car on Earhart Expressway.
When have we had a quiet Saints offseason where nothing bad happens in June? Even if it's like a minor thing, something will happen.
Well, if no players go on Yahoo Finance, we should be ahead of last year. So that would be something.
That's right. So Thomas, fire up the music so we can get out of here. Guys, thanks for joining us on the YouTube. You should subscribe if you're listening to this podcast in your RSS feed in your car or wherever, and you don't listen on the YouTube channel and you don't watch on the YouTube channel, you should join us every Sunday. It's amazing. Thomas has cool graphics, fun, cool stuff that he does. It's amazing. You should subscribe to the channel. You should become a patron to help us support the show. We got to pay Thomas meats, cheeses, and whatever currency that they use in Poland. We got to pay him in that. So if you become a patron, you help us do that. So do it. Become a patron. Support the show.
Lots of cryptos. Lots of crypto.
Yeah. Crypto. Dogecoin.
We're not paying him in Taycoin?
Not yet. Taycoin.
I made the graphic and everything. We're ready to go.
I know. Will this be a T? Hey, if Taysom is the starting quarterback, that T-shirt will sell like
Taycoin.
So, for Andrew, for Dave, for Kevin, with surprisingly good audio tonight. For Thomas, running the show back in Poland in the middle of the night. I'm Ralph. Until next week, the bar is closed.